All right, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you. There we go. 7:12. 7:12 is the time right now. We're live on Facebook. I've got the comments over here. If you have questions or comments, then you can post them over there. This is also going to be recorded, so you might catch the recorded version later on. And of course, you post questions, but we wouldn't see that. But you'll still be able to comment on it. And just want you to know, you might see the recorded version. You could scrub through the video and find what you need to find. Beautiful evening out there now. This is not bad for July. I mean, temperatures are warm, but we'd expect that. It's pretty not bad. All right, so looking ahead, the next few days, each day has something that jumps out about it. All right, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, all have something about them. The big thing, though, the next big thing is going to be on Friday, and that's with our storms that we're tracking. All right, so I'm going to give you the update with that, try to help with plans, and just show you what we see. You know, there's still time for things to adjust and tweak, but, you know, we're getting closer to the weekend, and, you know, we're talking storms and a severe risk. So we'll show you what's new there. On top of that, temperatures and just how the rest of this weekend into the weekend is looking now. So we do have some updates. Let me start out with this. This is going to, you know, pull the mystery back a little bit. We like to do that and show you what we see, what we look at. And this is one thing in meteorology. One of the most important levels is this mid-level part of the atmosphere, and where we look for these little blobs of energy. And where you get these blobs of energy, those are your storm systems. And we don't have much of it now, so it's quiet. Everything's good. But what we're going to watch is over here to our west. You see this little blob, right? Let me get to it. Right there. That is our next low-pressure system. So it just scooted in off the Pacific, and it's going to be cruising our way. When does it get here? Friday. All right? So if you see that, and you have moisture in place, which we always do in the summertime, then that's a recipe for storms, and that's exactly what we've got as we go to Friday. So let's just go through this kind of bit by bit. First off, this evening, everything's nice and quiet. It's warm and muggy, but we'd expect that. Tomorrow, what jumps out about Thursday is it's the hottest day this week, and it also will tie for the hottest day that we've had so far this year at 93. It's a hot day. Heat index 95 to 100. We could have a little rain in the morning, but the afternoon's very hot and it's sunny. Normal high is 88. So we are, 5 degrees hotter than normal. And then there comes Friday. All right, so this is where we have that increasing severe risk. We're first warning you that Friday, one, rain just period could impact your plans, and two, we could be having some severe weather. In fact, that risk level is now a level 2 out of 5 for Kansas City. This was new as of this afternoon, and the risk here is wind. All right, so we could have in the yellow zone, not everybody in the yellow zone, but in pockets within the yellow zone is our highest chance to see 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts within some of the stronger cells. And, you know, not a terribly high risk. We're not looking at a tornadic threat right now. The hail risk is pretty low. But, you know, you could have power knocked out. You could have some tree limbs blow over and, you know, cause some issues. So that's what we're watching there, on top of that heavy rain, of course, anytime you're talking about strong storms. So a little bit more specifics over the next couple of days. For tomorrow, 93 again, and then Friday's 91. And what we're looking at for Friday is your evening. So 91, high temperature, heat index, they're going to be 95 to 100. But your evening is what we have to keep an eye on. So this is the latest. All right, first warn future radar. Let's see. It might need to be updated. I think it does. Stick with me here just a second. This thing just updated, and sometimes you got to go in and punch it through. See if that does it. All right. Sorry about that. See if this does it. And we'll see what's new with it, too, because you and I just saw it update together. All right. So here's Friday morning, and we've got some rain, you know, up by Iowa, but most of us are dry. This is all still looking the same, all still the same. And there we go, Friday afternoon, mainly dry, some rain up to the north. Now, what's new here, the previous run, what we call, so the models update, this computer forecast updates 4 times a day. The previous run is what we call it, the last one, already had storms by 5 up near like Lincoln and Omaha and places like that. Now, the new one doesn't have that, so let's see what it does. All right, there they come. So it's delaying the storms a little bit. Still, by 8, 9, we've got storms coming in and then into the night. And you can see the bright colors. Now, this is more focused north than the previous one. but scattered storms moving into the evening. Here, let's take another look. So we have a lot of computer forecasts that we look at. Let's check out another one. Here's one of our longer range ones. Let's see what it has. So we look for consistency. So the day, mainly, oh, okay. See, it's sparking up some storms earlier. So this would be spotty in the afternoon. And then let's see if it's got a main line. There comes the main line out of the northwest. And it's got it kind of breaking up. So it's got more scattered activity through the day. And not necessarily the main punch until late. So what all of this means and what we're seeing here, and that's what's kind of frustrating whenever you're trying to forecast and pinpoint, when are we going to get rain? That's what a lot of us want to know. When's it going to storm? On Friday, the computer forecasts are going to bicker. And even whenever one updates, the new update will bicker from the previous one. What we look for are trends and consistencies, and then just what makes sense. And what makes sense is that we will have that storm system that I showed you at the very top that's going to be passing by Friday afternoon and evening. And we're also going to have a front at the ground level. You put all that stuff together, it looks like evening storms are a pretty good bet. And sometimes the computer forecasts agree with that, and sometimes they have it later, and it's Friday night. So as we get closer, everything should snap into focus. Right now, the odds-on favorite is that we would have a storm window from about 6 p.m. to midnight would be the primary line of storms that would come through, and it's got a decent chance at impacting, you're going out to Friday dinner plans, you had plans to have people over on the back patio, whatever, and again, some of those could be on the strong side. So that's why we've got that level 2 risk as those come on in. So Friday evening, that's what we're watching. Okay, in the meantime, temperatures, let's see what we got out there right now. 90, woo, it's hot. We had 95 earlier in Ottawa. It feels like 97 in Garnett, 95 in Kansas City. Here's tomorrow. Your morning here is going to be in the low 70s, and I mentioned that low rain chance. This is what I'm watching for tomorrow. So the better shots, Bethany, Cameron, Chillicothe, places like that. But then you see this little finger that could reach down into the metro. We'll see. So, running right down 35. And there's a shot between 9, 10, 11, something like that. And then the rest of the day in the Kansas City area should be dry. And that sun's going to come out, and it gets hot. There's rain chance. All right, so we're at 20% up until noon. And then, it shuts down, and it's just sunshine and hot, 93. Again, that heat index up to 100 with a south wind at 10 to 15. And temperatures across the area tomorrow, 94, 95 in spots. Look at Paola, Ottawa, Garnett, Lacine, Harrisonville, Richmond, Odessa, Warrensburg, Clinton. 94, 95. It's just flat out hot tomorrow. And then some good news. We told you Friday would be 91, but look at Saturday. How about that drop? It's July. It's not going to turn into October. But it's a nice little break that we have. So it's actually even below normal by about 5 degrees. Check out some of the blues showing up on my maps, which indicates cooler than normal temperatures. We've got some of those cruising on in. So I'll take that. Rain chance pretty low through the weekend for now. And it warms up a little bit on Sunday, but either day looks nice. And then next week, we've got heat building back in. And I think we're going to do this whole thing again where we have another cool down by Wednesday along another storm system that's got rain on Tuesday and Wednesday. I think one of those days, keep your eyes on Tuesday and Wednesday. One of those days is going to jump out, I do believe, and get a first warn and have a good chance for storms. Right now it's kind of fuzzy to see where in there it's going to be, but watch those. I think we're going to have some storms around in that time frame. So, all right, I hope that helps with all the plans that you're trying to get geared up as we get into the weekend. Let's see if we've got any questions over here. When a flash is coming, how much notice do we have of this? I assume you mean flash flood warning or something like that when it's flash flooding. Generally we have, so it starts with, we'll say 36 hours out. We have, in order to get flash flooding, you've got to have some ingredient. You've got to have a lot of moisture for the atmosphere to work with. You got to have the ability for that moisture to turn into rain. And typically you can see that in a big broad scale, over a state, something like that. and areas that are likely, most likely, that could see that a storm form and produce real heavy rain. And you would either also need the storms to move really slowly, or several of them to go over the same, what we call training, where you get one storm goes over an area, then another one's on its heels, and just the same area gets hit over and over. That's how you get flash flooding. So we can see those 36 hours out pretty clearly most of the time. I'm not saying that there aren't events where we get surprised, but that does happen. And then, so that's like watch. We just need to be watching this area. Then you have to wait until it starts. I mean, where it begins is, from, let's say 12 hours before it starts, our computers will tell us, all right, here's where some places are to watch. But whenever you're talking about extreme events like flash flooding, the computer forecasts don't do a great job. So all that does is tell us, hey, somewhere in here, this bigger area, the computer forecast says right here. But really that just means that somewhere in the general region is where we could see that. So that's why I say we have to usually wait until it starts before we're saying like, hey, right now, the flash flooding is occurring. So we see the potential over a broad area up to 36 hours out. Certainly 12 hours out is real common, and it's just pay attention. And then as it unfolds, it's hey, this is the area that just keeps getting hit, and flash flooding is likely. So it's not, flash flooding takes some time. It takes a little bit. You've got to get a lot of rain, and it just has to keep coming down. So that's whenever the warning comes out, and then it can just scale up from there into flash flood emergency. Hope that answers your question, Brenda. So yeah, that's our setup, everybody, and we're gonna have more coming up at 10 o'clock. So I'll have new, what I called runs, the updated forecast radar and what it looks like as we go into the next several days, including Friday and the storm. So we'll bring it to you at 10. Meantime, have a great night. Thanks for joining us. Take care.